Hello everyone, how are you doing today? Myself name is Chaudhary Hamda Shirosali Gujar. I'm a student of the 433. I'm going to present about the five questions of the assessment 3 in the PDF. Before that, I'm going to give you some introduction. Learning in the garden and reflection report on the children's agencies, inquiries, and educator practices. Before that, answering the question, I give you some introduction. The inflex is based on the connecting with the practices enjoyed in the vegetable garden. It's analyze how the children reflect on their learning and the interact with the natural environment by the using of the EYLF V2.0 and national quality standards to interpret the role of the intense teaching, and the study highlights the reflections of the inquiry based play centers and outdoor learning and for the promoting curacy communications and the agencies. So first of all, the main question was the what was the child reflects on the learning. Children reflections on the what was the children reflections on the learning. The children's reflections appears through the dialogues, emotion, and reasoning. These are the three parts. The first part, like log, emotionals, and reasoning. Like first of all, comparing the carrot size, either it's a small one, a big carrot with the small leaf, or a small carrot with the big leaves. Reflect awareness and the early self-assessments of the thing, of the anything like either in garden, either in school, either in class, either doing the activity. Educator promotes, like educator question. Do you think it is a big one? Like don't going to compare the two carrots. So which is going to big one, which is having the small, which having the big leaf, the small carrots with a big leaf, or big carrot with the small leaves, which encourage critical thinking and agency. Transfer of the home knowledge. For example, washing carrots. How what will be the process to plug up from the garden to the home if we would take going to take the carrot from garden. So what will be the process from which is process through the garden the carrot should be go it's able for the eating, how the process of washing, cutting, using for the salad, using in the home. This is the thing. Showing connections between the experiences and reflections links to the EYLF outcomes 2 and 4. Confidence, reasoning of the thing, environmental care of that garden, and communication with the teammates, with their teammates, and with the educator. So the next was question: how was the engagement and learning achievements outcome? What was the learning and achievements outcome? Children display curious through activity participation like digging, watering, exploring the insects. Like children were enjoying, children was learning how to digging the soil to put the seed, how we're going to put the water on the seed, and how the process become from the seed to the carrot, and the environmental around the carrot, including the insects. Variable reasoning, teamwork, relevant, physical and social engagement. That after that participation, it was a reasonable and teamwork things. They was coordinating with their team to asking the question, performing the teamwork, and the social engagement with the garden. Open-ended questions and scaffolding, strengths, problem solving, and creativity. There was an open-ended question from the children to the educators. That how these cares go, what is a bit of time, how bit long, how will days is required, how time we need to put the water on the daily basis, what cost, what will be the amount of the water we should put in the card if we want a big carrot with a big leaves, these kind of the questions, and then solutions and the other stuff. Communication and numerals were diminishes to the size comparisons and the counting. The size comparison, small, big leaf, small carrot, small leaf, big carrots, and the counting around the garden. That was the mean, like numerous and the communication between them. And what kind of the achievement we achieved after that? Outcomes. So first of all, the outcome one, identity and agency. Outcome two, environmental K, including the carrot and its environmental. Four, inquiries and reasoning. Number five, communication between the educator and the other teamwork people. So the other question was the extending learning further. Future planning could be entailed measurements, documentation, and stability inquiries. Projects may include tracking plant growth, maintaining observations in the journal, comparing conditions. The STEM principle furthers evidence-based reasoning and hypothesis development, long-term inquiries, reflection in haste, open-end questions promotes critical thinking and collaboration. So, in these points, the what was will be the future planning, like measurements of the carrot, amount of the water, documentation, the growth, and inquiries about like how long it will take. Tracking the plant growth, maintaining the track of that in your journals, and comparing the condition in the weather, like summer, winter, autumn, spring, like this using the STEM principle, reasoning and development, long-term inquiries, like what will the future about if this carrot we do not try to get out from the garden? So what happened to the carrot? And open-ended questions about the critical thinking, and this link to EVAL-YLF links, which is number two and number four, connecting with the word, confidence, and the engagements. And in this additional resources, we're going to use inventions, tools, manufacturing glass, scales, and measure tapes to promote the observation and the numbers. Like we're using the glass to observe from the soil to the soil, checking the growth of the carrot when we can see from little bit from here. Like if it's turned green, it's still under the process. If it's like red, it's ready to pack up from the ground. So and measure the tapes, the size of the carrot, like in the observations and animals, documentation materials, clipboards, drawing, journals, and tables to support reflections and the language development. Similarly, resources, compost bins, worm farm, recycle water system to encourage environmental responsibility that we're not going to waste this water. So how this water that we're putting on the garden is going to recycle again and we're going to use it for the other process. And what one will be the educational tools, inquiry-based learning guidance, reflex template, and collaboration planning sheets. They're going to do a plan, having a reflection template and a learning guidance, each and everything. Such additional STEM engagement, culture, innovation, and hospitality development. So now I'm going to discuss about the final, the last question, the outcome. What was the outcome? What was the learning and the achievement, and how we alignment with the E, Y, L, F, and NQF. So first of all, we're going to talk about the outcome one, identity and the agency evidence through the confidence and choice making. Number two, environmental responsibility in the caring for the plants and the insects. Like the children's are taking responsibility, taking care of the environmental for the plant and the insect. Because in the garden there are two different environmental. One is for the plant, one for the insects. Number four, inquiries. Like inquiries about the carrot growth, size, growth, seed to carrot, leaves, how we're going to recycle this leaf, how we're going to use this water. Experimental in his by the educator self-holding. Outcome 5. Variable and the communication expand through the dialogues. according to the ACEQA, like how we going to like communicate from these dialogues and what will be the outcome we learn about this. So now, like, there's a long been becoming the principle in secure respect and relationship practices, culture, responsibility, and learning outcome. The children having the long sense of the identity about this experiment, about this after this activity. Like children is going to connect with and contribute to the world. Children having the sense of the well-being. The children are the confidence and involvement of the learning children. Children are the reflect communication. So now we're going to talk about the national regulation. Regulation 155, respect and dignity. Regulation 73 and 76 about the educational program and documentations. These were the national regulation we use. And what was the plan circle? Like plan circle was observation. First of all, we're going to observe. Then after the observation, we're going to analyze the things. After analyzing the thing, we go the two parts. Now we're going to give a proper plan on that. After doing the proper planning on the documentation or the sheet, like now we got the plan. Now we're going to implement on the project on the garden. And now after the implementation of the plan, we get the result and reflections. So, in the quality standards aligns with the QA3 physical environmental and QA1 educational program. So, in the conclusion, the garden experience successful meet with the EYLF V 2.0 outcome through inquiry, collaboration, and reflection, intense teaching plan, play-based, explorer, cultural agency, curious, and stability awareness. Practice aligns with the national law regulation and QF. Expectation for the initial and safety, because safety is very important thing. Continuous reflection, planning, sport, outcome, methods, and hostel learning. So this was the main point. The results we get after doing the reflections by using the EYLF and under the practices of the national laws and regulation and NQ expectation, as we need to consider about the safety. So these were my answer about the 5%. If you have any kind of the question, you can freely ask me. You can mail me, or you can just use the model to ask the question about my presentation. Hope so you guys get my answer, and I try my 100% best to give the accurate answer according to the reflection, according to my experience, according to my research. Thank you. I hope so you having a very, very good day. Bye for now.